What's up, Bridal Babes? I hope you're ready for another exciting episode of your favorite local wedding show, Bridal Buzz. I'm your host, Kat, and today we're joined in the studio by Hannah. She's the director at Sendera Springs out in Kerrville, Texas. We're going to talk about the top 10 things to think about when you are going venue shopping. So you are not going to want to miss this episode if you are in the beginning stages of your wedding planning. And quick shout out to today's sponsor, The Cake Shop. You'll hear more about them as we get going. But with that, let's get started.
Woohoo! Let's do it.
Right?
Yes. Hello, everybody.
Hello, Hannah. Thank you for being here.
Of course. Yes,
Yeah.
I'm so excited to be here and join y'all in the studio because
Yes.
this is a new thing for me.
Yes, so we have seen Hannah before on location at Sendera. If you guys want to go see more from that venue, you can head to our Bridal Buzz episode and see that and
Yes.
hear more from Hannah about Sendera Springs. We'll hear a little bit in this episode, but if you want the full rundown, definitely head to that video. But
For sure.
before we get into this topic, tell me a little bit about you, how you got into weddings.
Yes.
Just give me a rundown.
Okay, so my family and I, it was never in the works for me to just start doing this wedding venue. It kind of started with me working at a wedding venue, but I was also a teacher. And then it kind of spun off into my family wanted to join forces with me and our own wedding venue, so not the one I worked at. And my family bought the ranch. We opened the wedding venue, and now here we are. We're running it full force. It's family owned and operated, and we are all out there doing weddings pretty much every weekend, and we are loving every second of it.
Yes. How long has that been?
So we bought the property in 2019, but we started doing weddings actually in 2020, and then the pandemic hit, but we still had a successful season, and then we've been doing it ever since.
Cool. And that's in
Yeah.
Kerrville, right?
It is. It's in Kerrville, so it's about an hour from San Antonio, but we're actually out in what I would call the true hill country. The hill country is a big area, but I would call where we're at like kind of the heart. And so
Yes.
you definitely get those rolling hills and that pretty backdrop.
Yes, the backdrop of the ceremony setting outside at Sendera is just stunning.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely pop up some pictures here so people can see that on YouTube.
Yes.
But let's get into today's topic.
Let's do it.
I feel like, a lot of people dream about the aesthetic of their wedding venue, maybe the location, but there's a lot more that they need to take into consideration.
For sure. Yes.
So let's start with number one on your list. What is the
Okay.
first thing that people should be thinking about?
So the first thing, which some might think of this already, but for those who are just kind of dreaming big and they want all this stuff and then they don't realize that, hey, how are you going to pay for it? So the first thing is budget. And this one is a very important one because venues are a variety of budgets. They come with all sorts of different things. But what I want y'all to think about as you're planning your wedding and what venue you want to pick, not only think of the budget for the venue itself, but think of your overall budget as far as the wedding goes. So you need to sit down with whoever is going to be the payee. So whether it's your parents, your partner's parents, you personally, or your partner, y'all need to talk and have that conversation of who and what y'all are willing to spend on the whole thing, and then what you can set aside just for budget for the venue alone. Because the venue will take quite a bit of a chunk of that whole budget.
Yeah.
And so you need to kind of think, if this is my grand scheme, what I'm going to spend, what out of that can we spend on venue? And then you can go caterer, cake, bar, photographer, and you can go from there. But your first step is to figure out the whole budget and then the budget for the venue. And then from there, go and shop at the venue. And then you can see what the venue requires and what else you need to spend money on. But
it's like very, very important.
yes,
You don't want to be signing any contracts before you think about
exactly.
the grand scheme of things
Yes.
here.
And so a lot of venues on their websites, they don't necessarily put their pricing. And that's okay because that is their choice and they want you to reach out and have that conversation with them. Us personally at Sendera Springs, we put our pricing on our website so that couples, when they are venue shopping, they can firsthand see like, hey, this is how much they're expecting, for us to pay the venue. How does that compare to our overall budget?
Yeah.
And so we just want to be open and transparent on, hey, can y'all afford us before y'all even come out and see us?
Yeah.
And then other venues, of course, before you go out, you can always ask like, hey, how much is a Saturday rate? Just so that you know before you go out and waste your time, their time, and you don't like have heartbreak because you fell in love and then you can't afford it.
Yes.
And so it's always good to know budget, just because you don't want to be paying for something and have to take out a loan and do all of these things that aren't necessary. You want your dream wedding, but please don't break a bank doing it.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. There's so many other things in life. Yes, weddings are important, and I'm in the wedding business, and I want you to have a wedding at a venue. But if you can't afford it, that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And we love the transparency that Sendera Springs provides. No gatekeeping. Thank you for that.
Yes. Yes.
And then you also mentioned the rates of different dates. So that is a huge thing to think about, bridal babes. Fridays versus Sundays versus even like Wednesdays, some venues allow. So
exactly.
Yeah.
So that goes hand in hand with budget. So say you're more of a budget friendly person and you want to stick to a budget. Hey, we have weekdays. So if a weekday is more affordable to you and helps you stick with your budget that you want to, go and have a Thursday wedding. I always tell my couples when they come on a tour, no matter the day of the week, if people love you and support you, they're going to show up.
Yeah.
Okay. They're going to take the time to take off work. They're going to show up and be there present. So it doesn't matter the day of the week. Pick one that you can afford and that you want. If your dream wedding day is a Saturday, then you need to consider what a Saturday is going to cost, because it's the most popular wedding day, day of the week.
Yeah.
And so if you want that Saturday, you just need to plan accordingly as far as budget goes. So that is why I have budget as number one, because it takes the whole cake. You need to know the budget before you venue shop. And so a Sunday is usually cheaper. The most expensive ones at venues are first Saturday, and then usually it's Friday, because that's the next popular. And then after that would be Sunday, and then weekdays.
Yeah.
And so just kind of think about what day of the week, and if you want maybe a cheaper one, maybe kind of give up that Saturday dream and maybe go for a Friday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey,
It's
save
not
a
gonna
little
be
bit.
The worst thing in the world.
It won't be. It won't be. People will come and you'll have an incredible wedding.
Yes. The people that matter will be there.
Exactly.
So what's second on your list?
Okay. So it goes hand in hand with budget, but venues, they include all different things. Different venues do different things, and it's just kind of how you want your wedding day to be, whether you want to be more involved or the venue's more involved.
Right.
So I'm just going to dive into it. So what I mean by what the venue includes, for example, tables and chairs. The venue includes tables and chairs. This isn't even setting it up. Does your venue include tables and chairs?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, great. That saves me money. No. Oh, well, now I have to rent tables and chairs. Okay. If that's something you want to do because you want a certain chair, totally fine, but that is up to you and your budget. If you're like, I can't afford to rent separately, this venue has to include it, then you find a venue that includes the tables and chairs.
Right.
And then the next step above that is, does the venue set up the tables and chairs? If they don't, who's going to do it? Does your planner do it? Does the caterer do it? Or are you and your bridesmaids going to have to be setting up the tables?
Yeah.
So things to think about on how you want your wedding day to run. So if you want to do nothing and you want to be stress-free and just kind of sit back and relax and get your hair and makeup done and not worry about it.
in your hand.
Exactly. Then the venue needs to set up the tables and chairs, have it ready to go, and then the florist can come in and decorate. The planner can come in and do all the little details, but it's already one step ahead because they're not having to come in on wedding day and setting up the tables and chairs.
Right.
So another thing to think about with what the venue includes, at Sendera Springs, we include a various of decor. So easels, picture frames, things like that.
Right.
This is not a necessity for when you're venue shopping. Not all venues do this. It's just an added plus.
Right.
So it's not something that, a couple will choose me over another venue because Sendera has decor, but it's things for you to think about. Does your venue have someone on site to answer questions? Does your venue have decor that you can use to help you save a buck here? Does your venue have the chairs at the ceremony? Not even just the tables and chairs at the reception.
Right.
So the websites are going to be very helpful for when they are venue shopping. Definitely get on the website. If they don't have the budget on there, that's okay. Reach out to them. But they should have, hey, this is what's included in our venue.
Yeah.
This is our time frame. This is when you can get in the venue. This is when you have to be out. This is what is included in that time frame, and so on.
Yeah. And every venue is different. So
every venue is different.
Yeah. Very important.
Pros and cons to all of them. But that is why it's called venue shopping. It's not just there's one venue that you book. It's you venue shop and see what you want and what you want your wedding day to be.
Right, exactly. It's like, going house or apartment shopping. It's not just like the way it looks and the location
Yes.
of the apartment. It's what kind of amenities do I receive? Is there a concierge service?
Exactly. Is there a gym?
Yeah. All
exactly.
of these different things that need to be put on your list of like things that you want and, nice to haves and must haves for sure.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. So what's next on your list, Hannah?
Okay. Number 3 is guest count. This is one that is most commonly forgot. But
it's so hard.
I know, but it's always brought up at a tour, especially for me. I always want to know, hey, what is your guest count? And some venues, they will ask before you even come out for a tour, and then they will put it on their website and things. So this is something you need to look out for and make sure that your venue has the capacity of what you want.
Right. Your max, at least. Like, you don't need to know your exact, but you need to know the max amount that venue is going to allow. Because you can't invite more than that. You just can't.
No. Yes. Okay. So I do have a rule of thumb and a percentage for this one. So I didn't have it for budget. So sorry, Bridal Babes. But I do have a percentage for guest count. It has kind of been changed a little bit since COVID, but this is kind of the way that wedding planners and venue people will tell you about your guest count. So the rule of thumb is your grand number, 20% will not show. Now, after, the pandemic, it has changed. It's gone one or two ways. It's, yes, a lot of people don't show even more than 20% because it's maybe they're not ready to go out in the world yet. Or it's, woohoo, we are ready to go and party. We are going to be there. And actually more people come. And so I always warn my couples, now we're kind of getting past that cusp.
Right.
So it's getting a little more normal. But I still want to warn them because you never know. It could be just like my couples could be like, oh my gosh, Hannah, I didn't know this many people were going to come. That's okay.
Yeah.
But hey, remember, this is our max. So like you said earlier, all venues have a max, and that's something that couples need to know before they venue shop. So, hey, I want to invite, 300 people. I'm expecting, 250. That is probably not the 20%. I didn't do the math in my head.
It's
but
okay, you're close.
I'm expecting around 250. Okay, now go out, look at the websites. Which ones can hold 250 to 300? Okay, this one can hold 500. Boom. Okay, I can definitely look at this one.
Yeah.
This one can only hold 100. No, don't even dare. You go shop there. No.
Don't consider it.
Press X on your little web browser. No. If they're like, my max is 200, you're getting iffy because if you're inviting 300 and you said you were expecting 250, but you're like, well, maybe they won't, maybe more won't come. Don't do that.
Don't count on it.
Don't do that because their max is 200. You probably can't make it work.
You do not need to uninvite your mom's cousin.
Right?
Last minute.
No, do not do that. So guest count is very important when you're venue shopping. You need to make sure that the venue has space for the amount of people you want.
Yeah.
And hey, if you're wanting that big party, you want that 500 people, there's a venue out there for you. If you're wanting more of an intimate setting of 100 or less, there's venues out there too.
Yep.
So that's something that you need to talk with your partner, and then not only the partner, but the families, because I guarantee mama's not telling you about that third cousin that lives out of state, so.
Yeah, we've had a lot of surprises on my guest list. I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, who are you? Okay.
Add another 20 people. That's okay.
Yes. So, hey, you're in the same boat. Definitely think about guest count.
Yep. I'm definitely having to be very careful now. And this is just a tip I'd put out there is just get your guest list together before you even start thinking about addresses and asking people for addresses because, for a friend, not saying this happened to me, but putting it out there to like real life people, you can't take it back.
You cannot take it back. And I also recommend do not put it out there on Facebook. I've had so many friends and couples that I've seen, they're like, hey, I'm making my guest list for my wedding. And they post that on Facebook. And it's like, people from, middle school that you haven't talked to in forever, they comment, "Oh, love to be invited."
Yeah, can't wait.
What?
Ooh, yeah.
I wasn't. Don't do that.
Do not open a door you're not ready to.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes. Invite the people that are important to you and that you definitely want them to be there.
Yes.
And if your mom is like, "Hey, we want this person," if you have room for it, sure, invite them. Or it might come down to those tough conversations with your family of, "Hey, this is my dream venue. They can only hold this many people. I just can't invite that person."
Yeah.
So another really spin-off on this is not just for venue shopping, but guest count also goes hand in hand with how much food you're going to have, how much
Drinks.
Alcohol. And this all goes back to our number one of budget.
Right.
Because if you invite 500 people, you have to feed 500 people. Maybe not all 500 will drink alcohol, but they might drink a soda or tea. How are you going to feed and give them drinks to these people?
Sustain them.
Yes, exactly. Thinking about your budget.
Yeah.
So guest count not only goes for venue shopping, but it also goes to budget and how much you're willing to spend.
Yes.
So yeah.
Before we keep going, I'm going to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, The Cake Shop. So Bridal Babes, if you are looking for someone to bring the sweet treats to your next event, it doesn't necessarily have to be a cake. Dessert bars are so in right now. The Cake Shop is the perfect place to get that. They have so many delicious signature flavors, and the team there is just so nice and so ready to help meet you where you're at. So if you are looking for sweets, make sure you check out The Cake Shop today on SanAntonioWeddings.com. Again, that is The Cake Shop. Okay, back to you, Hannah.
Awesome.
What is number 4 on your list?
Okay, so number 4, when you go venue shopping, you need to decide, do you want an indoor or outdoor ceremony?
Yes, so important.
Yes. So you need to think about this before you go venue shopping, because there's so many venues out there that have different options. Some only have the outdoor option for a ceremony. Some have an outdoor, but they also have a pavilion or a chapel. Some only have an indoor option. So think about your dream wedding and what it entails. Do you want those outside pictures? Do you want that church feel but not a church? So for example, Sendera Springs, we have an outdoor ceremony site that has the gorgeous backdrop view, but that is not keen to everybody's wedding vision. Some people want that chapel look with the pews. So they're gonna, when they're venue shopping, they might pass by ours because they want that chapel look, and they'll find a venue that has that indoor setting with the chapel with the pews. But then again, we have some couples that want a venue like ours that has that outdoor look, that has that hill country backdrop.
So beautiful.
And so you'll have to decide what you are looking for. Now, if you go and do the chapel ceremony, you can still go outside and get outdoor photos, because venues they're going to have some gorgeous trees or property to go take photos at, but you can still get that indoor ceremony, or you can get the outdoor ceremony with those views and then also go around the property as well. So this one's kind of a simple one, but you just need to decide what you're looking for before you go venue shopping, because I don't want someone to come personally to my venue expecting to have an AC'd ceremony, and then I'm like, no, sorry, you're out in the elements, but it's the beautiful elements. It's just, sorry, we don't have an indoor option. So maybe check out the websites and know beforehand. Don't be blindsided.
And what is a contingency plan too? I think is an important.
So think about that. If you have the indoor ceremony, then you don't have to worry about the inclement weather. That is maybe why you wanted to book that venue, because you don't have to worry about that. You have it inside. But those who want it outside, yes, that's also good to know. If you want the diehard, like I want the outdoor ceremony site, good. But ask the venue, what is your contingency?
And be prepared for like the good months of the years to be hard to find those good dates if you're looking for outside ceremonies.
Yes, definitely plan ahead. Venue shopping, I definitely recommend like a year out, if not more. I wouldn't want to discourage you by, if your fiance doesn't propose like 2 years out, that is okay. There's still gonna be dates. But I wouldn't wait like a month before. I've never heard of that, but hey, don't wait for a month out.
We're all new to this at the beginning, so there's no shame in it, but the closer you wait, or the longer you wait, the less options you'll have. That is just science.
And so if you wait then you might not get that indoor outdoor ceremony, whichever one you preferred. And so that is something that think ahead, plan ahead, venue shop ahead, but know all these top 10 things before you venue shop.
Yeah. So what's next on your list?
Okay, so contrary to the ceremony, it follows with the reception. So you don't think about it, but there is venues out there that have outdoor receptions.
Yes.
So you need to decide, do you want an outdoor reception or an indoor reception? So my first thought is, I want to eat in the AC.
Yes.
But not everyone thinks like me, and that is okay.
They want to have that garden, terrace feel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They want to have that outdoor reception. So say they got married in the chapel, and then following they had their reception out in the garden. And it was beautiful. It was serene. They had, string lights. It was very romantic. But that is not everyone's choice. If that is your choice, great. Make sure you find a venue that has that option.
Yeah.
If not, you need to find the venue that has a reception hall that can fit your guest count, that some venues might not even have AC. So do you want an indoor reception that has AC, or are you okay with an indoor reception, but they have like the open garage doors or that barn feel?
The open air.
So it's kind of like there's like three options.
Yeah.
It's the full outside under the elements. It's you're covered, but it's open.
Yeah.
And then fully covered in AC or heated, depending on the time of the year. I mainly say AC because we're in Texas.
We're in Texas.
So, but every now and then we have to turn on the heater. It's a thing.
Maybe 3 days out of the year,
Yeah. I love it. So definitely think that when you're venue shopping, what are you looking for?
Yes.
Are you wanting that tent wedding? Are you wanting it just out in the open but string lights between trees?
Yeah.
Are you wanting that pavilion or that barn with the open doors? Or are you wanting that reception hall with, a beautiful inside with chandeliers, things like that?
Yeah, and like the drapes and things.
Yes. Oh, yes. And the aesthetic. So like at ours, we have, a big fireplace, stone and wood. So is that something that your heart desires? Or are you more of, more industrial? Or are you more garden?
Yeah.
So things to think about. Things to think about. I know.
Okay. So, wow, we've already gone through 5.
I know.
That's amazing.
Well, now we're on the 5th.
Oh, okay. We're on the 5th
we're
now.
on the
Okay.
5th.
So give me number 5.
Okay. So number 5 is, do you want the venue to have on-site dressing rooms? Or are you okay with them not? So when I was planning the venue, I wanted Sendera Springs to have the, bridal suite, the groom's quarters, the dressing rooms. That is something that I wanted to cater to our couples, is for them to be able to come, get ready on site, have things to do, enjoy themselves, and then just be able to walk out to the ceremony and then go to the reception. But some venues don't have that, but not all couples are looking for that. So when you're venue shopping, if you are okay with getting ready at your Airbnb, having the makeup artist come to the Airbnb, or getting ready at the hotel, or better yet, your venue is the hotel. So it just kind of depends on what you're feeling. Are you okay with getting ready somewhere and then going and showing up to the venue and then going down the aisle? Or do you want to be present, showing up in your PJs, changing, getting ready, and being on location?
Yeah. And have like those cute getting ready pictures, because some venues do have bridal suites, but they don't look like Sendera Springs bridal suites that you want to be flashing a bunch of pictures in. So that's also something to take into consideration, is maybe they do have a bridal suite, but maybe you just use it as like a storage room, because it's just not that aesthetic, but that's something to take into consideration.
Exactly. My personal friend, she got married at Palo Duro Canyon, and I mean, it's a canyon. So yes, they did have a pavilion that they did and it was an AC pavilion, but that was where the reception was. But there was no bridal suite, no groom's quarters, none of that. So we got ready at the hotel, got our hair and makeup, we got dressed, we drove over. She got married like out in the canyon. It was the most beautiful. Oh yeah, it was gorgeous. And then we had the reception inside in an AC building. But that's something that she wanted, and she didn't care there was no bridal suite. She wanted to get married in Palo Duro Canyon with the canyon backdrop. I mean, full throttle. That is what she wanted. She venue shopped. She made sure that's what she wanted. And that's that was her choice. When I was personally doing my wedding, I wanted to have my girls and I show up in PJs, get ready in a nice bridal suite, have the hair and makeup artist show up there. We get dressed there, get all those cute pictures. And then same for my husband. I wanted him to have a place too. And so that's kind of why, you know, I put my personal opinion into our venue and added that personal touch of having those suites. But not everyone wants that. And so think about that when you're venue shopping. Do you want them to have dressing rooms, or are you okay with getting ready elsewhere?
Yeah, and traveling there in your dress. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. And some of
No
them,
shame.
not to give them not credit, some of them might have a place where they can put their dress on, but it's not somewhere you can get your hair and makeup done.
True.
So you can get your hair and makeup done where you're staying, show up, change into your dress. You know, they're not always you have to show up in your dress, but Palo Duro Canyon was. It was like if you're getting married in the canyon, let's go hike, pick up your dress, let's go.
You can change mine, the I don't know, the rock over there.
The rock, exactly. We'll hold up a sheet. It's okay.
Okay, so number 6.
Let's go. Number 6.
These are so good.
Okay, so on-site accommodations or nearby is fine. What I mean by on-site accommodations, I mean lodging.
Yeah.
So I wasn't talking about the dressing rooms. We already hit that. But number 6 would be, do you want on-site lodging for your guests, or are you okay with hotels nearby, Airbnbs nearby? So Sendera Springs, us personally, we're only about 7 minutes from nearby hotels. So we have not ventured into that on-site lodging.
Right.
And nor do we might not want to. But that is our opinion because the hotels are so close. Our couples are okay with it. They're like, oh, yeah, boom, 7 minutes. Our guests can stay right here in all these hotels. We can even get shuttles for them and shuttle them over back to the hotel. No biggie. Or there's Airbnbs in town. No biggie. But there is some couples out there that they want the party to go maybe all weekend. And there's venues out there that is for them. So they come in on Friday. They have rehearsal dinner on site. Their guests stay, wake up, get ready, do all the things, do the wedding, and then they stay there that night. They can kind of all hang out together in the lodging, wake up on Sunday, kind of clean up, and then they go home. So it's kind of like a weekend getaway for you and your guest. Now, there is some venues that maybe they don't give you the whole weekend, but they do have the on-site accommodations, the lodging.
For the night of.
For the night of, exactly.
Yeah.
So, you can have your guests stay there right after the wedding, and it helps with, you know, drinking and driving and things like that. Or they're just able to just walk over to their cabin.
Yes.
So that's really nice. So you just kind of have to think about, do we want to do that or not? But when you think about that, that all ties back into number 1 with budget, because you have to pay for this on-site lodging. Now, some venues, they're going to have you pay for all the rooms up front, and then you can have your guest pay you back. Or say you have this ultimate budget where you want your guests to just have this weekend of no worries, no payment. You pay for the whole thing, and your guests just come and stay, and it's so great.
Yeah.
But not everyone can afford that.
Yeah.
And so you have to think about, do we want to pay for the rooms? Do we want our guests to pay for the rooms? Or, hey, maybe I don't want a venue with on-site lodging. I'm okay with my guests just getting a hotel room on their own.
Yeah.
So think about that, because it all goes hand in hand with that budget.
Yes. And some venues have different amounts of lodging.
Yes.
Like I know at Harper Hill, there's enough for like the bridal party.
Yeah.
But then at Le Bon Vie, which is the venue I booked, because this was such an important thing for my fiance, they can house up to 100 people.
Exactly.
So looking at that different variance is also important if you're looking at, you know, on-site accommodations. So
exactly. Yes. I think that is such a good point, because when you have the option of 100 people, oh, that is amazing. Okay, so now who's going to be those 100 people?
Exactly.
Do you still need hotel rooms too?
Yep.
Okay, so let's look to make sure there's hotel rooms close by. The one that only has for the bridal party, that's great, because it gives the bridal party the option of, hey, y'all are taken care of. And then the guests can still go about themselves and find somewhere else. So, yeah, those are great points. How much accommodations do they have? How much lodging? And is it important to you? And what are you looking for?
Yep. Sweet.
I know. We're just going through them. All right, number 7. Okay, so I mentioned this one with budget, but it is one that needed to be on its own entity. Okay. So the venue's exclusive list. Now, not all venues have this, but this is very important when you're venue shopping, because you need to know if they do have the list. Are you okay with that? Are you okay with having to choose off of their list for say caterers.
Yes.
Or on the other hand, did you have a caterer in mind that you wanted, but they're not on the venue list? So should I pick that venue because I really wanted the caterer? Or is the venue more important and you're okay with doing that list? So our venue, we have the list because we know that they're licensed and insured. They're TABC certified. They have insurance. They're full service. There's so many things that go into it, the reason we have the list. And so when couples come on tours with me, I explain the reasoning behind it. And I tell them, look, we've done, the shopping as far as those vendors for you. But don't worry, we don't just have 2 or 1.
Yeah.
We have a list.
Yeah.
So a variety of budgets, a variety of food styles, bar styles, all those different things that you can choose from. But you have to be okay with picking off of our list because we don't sway.
Yeah.
There's other venues out there that don't have a list, and that's great. So those couples that want maybe their uncle, who is an amazing award-winning barbecue like pit master, they want their uncle to come in and bring the pit and do this barbecue spread.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Our venue doesn't do that, but there's venues out there that will allow that. And so when you're venue shopping, you need to think about, am I okay with like a caterer? Or did I want someone, family friend to help me out? Or am I okay with this list of caterers, or did I want something specific?
Yeah.
So venue shopping, think about those lists and what your venue requires.
Yeah.
Definitely goes, that's an important one.
Yeah. And I feel like, now that I'm in the wedding planning process, I've heard some things from like older generations of like, watch out for those lists. They're just getting like paid to be on them, or like the venue's getting a cut or something. And I feel like that, well, it might be kind of true. They might be getting a cut if they make a sale. They're not just on that list because the venue wants to make money off of you booking that catering company. Like there's a method to the madness there, and they're not just trying to take advantage of you and like say, oh, you have to book with this person because we get half of the like it's not going to be like that. So
there's always venues out there that get those I forgot what it's called, or like the I don't
just
even
like
know.
Referral.
Yes, exactly. So our venue, personally, we don't take any payment from the couples booking them. I honestly would prefer if the caterers or bartenders or the planners that are on my list, and I give them, the couple, that they might give them like a discount, like, oh, hey, you're at Sendera Springs. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Like, that's so awesome. Yeah. Like, boom, here's a discount. Now that's not always how it goes.
Benefit the couple, not you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, we don't do that, but yes, there is venues out there that might take, a percentage. But again, they're not trying to take advantage. Yeah. They're just trying to work hand in hand with those people on their list of, hey, I scratch your back, you scratch mine.
It's like, I trust them,
Exactly, yes. But the reason they're on their list is because the venues know that they're going to do great and give you the best wedding ever.
Yeah.
So whether they take that cut or they don't, there's a list for a reason. And if you just want to know, ask the venue, what is your reasonings for this list? Mm-hmm. I am open about it. I will tell you the reasons why.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. Here you go.
Yeah. I think that's the best approach.
Yeah. And if you like it, you book with me. If you don't, then you can go elsewhere. But I do have this on my website. I don't have my actual list, but I say we do have an exclusive list for caterers, bartenders, and planners. Yeah. And so when they're venue shopping, they can see that. And if it's automatically a red flag, like, no, I want my uncle to do the barbecue. Boom, they're going to go and venue shop at another one. If they're like, oh, this list might be good because I don't know anybody. Yeah. Hey, the venue has done so many weddings. I bet they have some really great people.
Yes.
I'm going to go and look at this venue, and I'm going to see who they recommend, and I like it. Let's book. So venue shopping, think about those lists and if you want them or not.
Yes. Love it. Exclusive list or not. Okay. Number 8.
Okay. Number 8, bar types. So this one it's a good one. It's not necessarily the most important, but I do want to talk about it because there is different bar types and you might not know about them. Yeah. So bridal babes, yes. If you don't know what I'm talking about, listen up. Okay. So there's open bar, there's cash bar, there's venues that require you to use their bar. There is, you could just do beer and wine bars. There's beer, wine, and signature drinks. There's the full bar with all of the alcohol choices.
Yeah.
So many things to think about, and this goes back to budget. This also goes back to the venue's exclusive list and what the venue includes. So this kind of touches on some of the other ones that we have already talked about. So first thing when you're venue shopping is, does the venue include the bar? Do you have to use their bartenders, their bar, get the alcohol all through them? Yes. Okay, you're okay with that. Hey, I don't have to do anything. I show up and the bar's ready to go. I didn't have to bring the alcohol, no unloading. This is great.
Yeah.
They serve it, boom. Or, no, I don't really like that price. I have a total specs card or a total wines card or a specs card, and I can get a discount on going and buying the alcohol and bringing it. Okay. So then maybe you don't want to book that venue. So then you look at a different venue. So then there's some venues that allow for you to go buy the alcohol, bring it, and for the bartenders to serve it, for you to have your own bartenders. So how our venue works is we have a list of bartenders. So that goes back to the list. They have to choose off of that list. Some of the bartenders on our list, they can buy the alcohol for you, bring it, and serve it. Or you can go buy the alcohol, bring it, and they can serve it.
Right.
But, bartenders, they always have like the mixer packages, the ice packages. So you just go buy the Tito's and the whiskey, and then they'll bring the Coke, the cups,
Right.
the ice, the Sprite.
The margarita mix.
Exactly. You bring the Jose Cuervo. They bring the margarita mix.
Yeah.
So you'll just work with those bartenders on that. But thinking about venue, what do they require? So do venues only allow cash bars? Well, me personally as a bride, I didn't want my guests to have to bring cash and have to worry about paying.
Yeah.
But there are some venues that do that. Now, I don't know all of them. I don't even know if hotels require that anymore. But I know that some, like a personal friend got married at a golf course. And so the country club, they did a cash bar because the country club was the one, they were the bartenders. They had the alcohol because, on a regular basis, they serve their country club members.
Yeah.
So there was no need for outside alcohol to be brought in. They already had a stocked bar.
Yeah.
And so we went up as, guests and just paid for our drinks. And that was okay. That's just what that couple wanted. They wanted to get married at that country club and golf course. But me personally, I did not want my guests to have to worry about that. So my father-in-law, my husband's family, they paid for the bar. And then the bartenders bought all the alcohol, brought it. He paid for the mixer package, so they brought all the mixers. They served it all up, and my guests just had an open bar. So think about that. Think about, are you okay with cash bar? Do you want it to be a free bar? Free for your guests, but you would have to pay. So think about budget. Who's going to pay for the bar? So those are the big ones as far as venue shopping goes. And then, of course, when you're planning, think about what type of bar you're wanting. So that doesn't really have to go hand in hand with the venue as far as like cash, open, or if the venue has the bar. But once you figure that out and you find your venue, then the venue is going to be like, oh, what type of bar do you want?
Yeah.
So Bridal Babes, this is just something extra. It has nothing to do with the list. But, hey, are you wanting just a beer and wine?
Mm-hmm.
Because maybe that's more affordable for you with your budget. Are you wanting beer and wine, but you want maybe a signature drink? You want a bride's choice or your puppy dog's named after it.
Yeah.
So you have a signature drink. Or are you wanting to have a full bar? Now, full bar doesn't necessarily mean that you have every single liquor in the book.
Right.
But it means that you have choices. It's not just this signature drink. You might have, vodka, whiskey, tequila. Maybe you don't have the gin because I don't personally drink gin. There's people
at
out
our weddings
there.
there won't be gin.
Yeah, okay. But sometimes they want to have, the gin.
Yeah.
So you just kind of think about what full
And the
bar.
rum and the other things.
Exactly.
I'm like, oh yeah,
Yes.
those exist.
Yes.
And also, like, physically, what kind of bar options do
That
the
is-
venues
yes,
have?
that is a good point. So thinking about the tables and chairs, is a bar included? So are tables and chairs included? Great. But is there a bar included? Okay, yes, there is a bar. Great. If there's not a bar, where do you get one?
Yeah.
Do you rent one? Or do you just pop up a table, put a linen on it, and serve off of the table? So think about that too when you're venue shopping. What does the venue have as far as bar goes? And if they have this set up.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't even mention, I do have non-alcoholic weddings too. So if a bar is not your thing, that is okay. And some venues actually give discounts for non-alcoholic weddings. And we are one personally.
Because the liability
is much less.
Yes.
Much less. And so if you don't even want alcohol at your wedding, that is okay. Boom, here's a discount because, you know, I don't have to worry so much.
That's a good tip.
Yeah.
I love that.
So I wanted to just throw that out there just in case there's a bridal babe that's like, I don't drink.
Yeah. Hey, maybe I'll make a little reel out of that. Just be
Yeah.
like, dry weddings.
Dry weddings. It's a thing.
Discounted.
Yeah. Yep. So you never know.
Wow. Okay. So I can't believe we're almost through this list.
I know. We're almost done.
2 more?
No, I think just one more.
Just one more?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm all over the place.
I know.
Like, we're on number 3, right?
That's okay.
No,
I moved my list around, and so my numbers are out of whack. But no, that was we're at the last one.
Okay.
Okay. So the last one is a rehearsal. This one is brought up a lot. But it's, again, I wouldn't say it's like most important, but sometimes it's a ride or die for some couples.
Yeah.
They're like, no, like I have got to rehearse and we want it on, you know, the day before. So what I mean by this is venues out there have a ways of going about it. It's either, yes, the day before is included. No, the day before is not included.
Right.
So you can rehearse on the day of. Or some venues are like, hey, a month out, you know, on a random Tuesday, if you and your bridal party want to come out and rehearse, sure, it's a Tuesday. Why not? But it just kind of depends on what your venue offers. Yeah. So personally, our venue, we don't include the day before. It is an option to rent it the day before if we don't have a wedding. But that's a whole nother thing to get into. I won't do that. But what we do instead is, yes, go have a rehearsal dinner. Hang out with your people the night before.
Yeah.
You can do a little rehearsal there if you wanted to. Like, hey, this groomsman is walking with this bridesmaid, and like you just talk about it.
Processional order.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because our venue has, 2 doors. We make it super easy. 1 staircase, get down to the ceremony site.
Yeah.
Boom.
It's a
easy.
straight walk.
Exactly. But if you still want to rehearse, we do have the option of doing it the day of. So what happens is, usually the girls get there, they start getting ready. And then the guys get there, they start getting ready. And then the planner will get there and take out the bridesmaids and groomsmen and the groom. The bride will just stay back. They'll rehearse. Great. And then they just go back to getting ready and going about their day. It takes like 30 minutes. Boom, this is who you're walking, this is how you walk, this is how you stand up, and it's done. Then you go back to getting ready. But that's how our venue does it. There is some other venues that offer the day before. Yeah. So thinking back to like your personal venue that you chose, because y'all are staying there, you have that on-site lodging. Yep. You probably get in on Friday. Mm-hmm. So you get on Friday, you rehearse, you have your rehearsal dinner, and then on Saturday, you've already rehearsed. You don't even have to worry about it. You just go about getting ready. Yeah. So think about that when you're venue shopping. Do you want to have the day before included? Are you okay with it not being included? Now, the reason the day before is typically not included for most venues like mine is because we usually have weddings the day before. Yeah. So I said Friday's the next most popular date. If I have a Saturday wedding and they're expecting to rehearse, I might have a Friday wedding. Yeah. So I can't. Like we physically can't. Like, sorry, you can't come. You can't wedding crash. No. Yeah. And so they have to do it the morning of, or they can practice offsite at their dinner. But if you find a venue with on-site lodging and you rent it for the whole weekend, that day is already included because you have it for the whole weekend per se. So just think about that when you're venue shopping, what is important to you. And wedding planners out there, they always have advice and ways to go about rehearsals. So don't freak if your venue doesn't include it. It's going to be okay. But if that's important to you, then look for it when you're venue shopping. Yeah. So. Wow. But these are all very helpful for when you venue shop. And I recommend doing this before, the whole reason for this podcast, because you don't want to go to a venue, fall in love with it, and then be blindsided by something. For example, you can't afford it, or they require something and you're not on the same page as those rules. Like you didn't want that rule. Right. So look at venues' websites. That is the number one thing I always recommend. Go to the website. See if they list their budget or like their pricing. See if they have FAQs. See if they have what is included at their venue on their website. So first and foremost, go to their website, check it out. Check out their Instagram, because Instagram and Facebook will have pictures. Yeah. Check out San Antonio Weddings and Bridal Buzz. Have they talked with them? Do they have insight on what this venue has.
Yeah.
Of course y'all do, because y'all are amazing. And so, ask Kat, hey, what does this venue have? Can you help me?
Yeah.
I'm venue shopping. But definitely check out their websites. That's one of the things that we like for our couples, is to know our website and what we have before they even come out and shop with us, because we want to make sure they're the right fit.
Yes.
And vice versa. We're the right fit for them.
Yeah. So if our bridal babes want to learn more from you or find more about Sendera Springs, what's the best way to do that?
So senderasprings.com, or check out our Instagram and Facebook at Sendera Springs. I'm Hannah. You can reach out. You can message me. Whether our venue is the right choice or not, after this podcast, if you have more questions just from me about venues in general, I am not biased. If we are not the right fit, that is okay. If we are, boom, there you go. But I will answer any questions. So message me on Facebook or Instagram. But if you wanted to check out our place, senderasprings.com, there's a tab for tour request. Fill it out and then come out and visit with me, and I can tell you all about our venue specifically.
Yay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're awesome, Hannah.
Thank
I
you,
know
thank you.
people are going to walk away just feeling so much better equipped
Good,
to
I hope so.
go forth and
I know.
find their venue.
Go find your venue and just do it,
Yeah, just do it.
Just go have fun. Go get married.
Go get married already.
Oh my gosh. I love it. Hey, and if your venue is the courthouse, I'm not judging. That's totally fine.
Yeah.
You go do that. Go get married at the courthouse. If you want to fly to Hawaii and get married in Hawaii, boom. I know there's venues over there too. There's hotels. If you want to get married in the hill country and you want a venue, there's tons. Venue shop and come visit us.
And specifically Sendera Springs.
Boom. Yes. I wasn't going to say it, but thanks, Kat.
Yeah. All right, bridal babes. Don't forget, the buzz doesn't have to stop here. We are everywhere online. You can find us on your favorite platform, and there are new Bridal Buzz episodes every week. Thank you again, Hannah from Sendera Springs, for this amazing episode about venue shopping and everything you need to be prepared for. And another quick shout out to today's sponsor, The Cake Shop. Go find both of those amazing local vendors on sanantonioweddings.com today. And with that, just wave at this camera, and we'll see you next time.